Welcome back, everyone, to our second series that we're going to have today in the APAC region. Off of a win from the Charge. Really pleasant to see, taking it over the Spark. Little mix-up there than what a lot of people were expecting. But now diving into this next series, we got the Chengdu Hunters versus the LA Valiants. And I know I was on my Hopium earlier, Trid. I was debating with you what we could expect for today. But you know what? I'm also on that fence because obviously looking at the way the Hunters have been performing, despite it, especially yesterday being lackluster, the Valiants unfortunately have not had the best time at all in this stage right now. And I feel like, especially with your fit right now, Trid, I can't even argue with it.
Especially with my fit? What's my fit got to do with this?
It's too fresh right now. I can't argue with somebody who's got a fresh drip like you. Like, come on.
If only that was the way it worked in real life. Like, whoever's like dripped out just wins an argument. Like, you don't even have to worry about it. Let's see if the Chengdu Hunters are dripped out there. Let's take a look at that lineup. Let's take a look at their uniform. Probably get some headshots of them this time around. Are they dripped out? Do they win by default by just having better kit? I don't know. I'm liking the color scheme. Very neutral. Very neutral in the hair. Works with a lot of the players' complexions as well. It's quite good. Yes, it's quite close to skin tone color because it's quite an earthy tone, but still very nice to see. I'd wear it. I'd wear them. I'd wear a Hunter. Send me one. Send me one.
Then you'll be just like Avril. You'll be able to rep everybody in every different region, no matter what.
If Avril can stand on a broadcast wearing Atlanta Reign merchandise, why can't I? Why can't I? Huh?
It's so true. You know, nothing different here from the Chengdu Hunters in this lineup. You know, we were expecting this going into the series here with the way that the Hunters have been performing even after yesterday. Hunters, of course, currently stand at number 5 in the overall standing. So while we did see a shift in the bottom end of the overall leaderboards with the Charge moving up above the Valiants, the Hunters are still stabilized a bit. But now what they're fighting for here, Trid, is for that position, that last spot here for the Summer Showdown.
Yeah, they want to try and dodge basically the death window, if you would do, in the group. Of course, let's take a look at the Valiant roster as well. Gaga may need to reposition their backdrop. We can see a little bit of your bedroom there, bud. Don't worry about that though. I'm sure you can fix that. Easyhan, Becky, Dia, Lengza, and Molly going to be the Valiant lineup for today. And yeah, this is a team who's found a little bit of success. They've been a punchy underdogs this stage, Vicky. Able to eke out a couple of map 5s, a couple of wins, but unfortunately not enough to really have the impact in the stage, and it ultimately sets them up for not a very good postseason, I'll be honest with you as well. There they are, all on camera for you. If we're doing the drip battle, Hunters win this one. Not a big fan of them. Not a big fan of the Valiant jersey.
You gotta say how it is. You know, Trid, not only the best coach telling you not to die, and, you know, it is what it is here, but it's also, Trid is also your fashion coach here too. Nice to have you here, Trid, always. But, you know, looking at the Valiant, like you've been saying before, something that I was surprised, actually, yesterday, we did see Molly come out. We have seen Sashin, actually, a lot, really, on that support lineup of the Valiant. But with Molly being integrated more with the Valiant, I'm wondering here what the Valiant's goals were, because they did this against the Dragons yesterday. They were winning a good amount of team fights. Yeah, it wasn't a wash, but again, this is the Dragons that we're talking about. So the Valiant, maybe I was expecting them to test out what they could do, maybe see if they could find some sort of progress to prepare for this series that they're going to have right now against the Hunters.
Look, the Sashin experiment, it got a thumbs up. It was serviceable. It was working. Is Molly the upgrade here to basically replace Sashin, tank player, playing the Brigitte? Molly should be able to come in here and provide some more impact. Not that Sashin was playing poorly, but let's get some people on their main roles. We still haven't solved the fact that Dia is the best Junker Queen in the Valiant roster, despite being a damaged player natively. That problem's not been solved yet. Hopefully, we can see Dia back on the damage role in future stages when Junker Queen becomes less powerful.
Honestly, Dia's Jagged Blade accuracy is quite incredible.
Oh, he's a monster.
He's a monster. It's actually really scary. And, you know, it can be a little tricky sometimes, especially in the middle of a team fight where a Genji pops a blade and dives in, where you could miss the Jagged Blade pull a lot, so it could be a little tricky on the eyes to see which one Dia pulls in a fight like that. But he's gotten so consistent on landing those Jagged Blades, and it's so crucial when it comes to trying to call somebody out and pulling them out of position. So I'm excited to see how that plays out, but I'm glad that you pinpointed that, because Dia on the Junker Queen has been popping off.
Yeah, look at this. Look at him
first
go.
in
First
Jagged
for Jagged
Blade
Blade. Yeah,
okay.
that doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me. I just want to double. Well, it's saying like, I just want to double check actually with production. I'm sure they can tell me in my ears. Is that across all regions or just the Eastern region? I hope I can get that information because that's first across the entire league. Even more impressive. And hopefully I'll get an answer to that and I'll update you in the past.
Oh, the full
I've just been told. Pretty sure that's the full league. So first across the entire league, tied third for Jagged Blade kills. Playing off-roll. Let's be clear about that. Playing off-roll and having that impact is still incredible.
Feels nice when you get to play a character like Junker Queen that managed to put in a lot of that damage. You feel very powerful, man. It's actually what's great is as a spectator, as somebody who's gotten to play her just a little bit, she feels so great and fun to play. But then looking at the comps that we've seen and the attempt on answering the Junker Queen meta doesn't look very fun to play against. Not at this level here, Trid, but you know it's.
I'm gonna be sad. I'm gonna be sad when we lose the Junker Queen. Like, it's good. To be honest, like,
she's
if we
so
can replace,
cool, honestly, she's
if we can replace,
character.
as long as we can find a meta that brings Zarya back into the fold, so that we can potentially like go from one muscle mommy to another, I'm gonna be happy. That's gonna satisfy the picks here. Taking a look at what comps really ran out here. I mean, are you really surprised we're entering the Chengdu zone a little bit with the Jinmu Pharah? But credit to Valiant. They know what to do. They know they have to answer with the Echo if Jinmu is going to run on the Pharah.
Really good point. This is actually what we had seen from the Hunters just yesterday. That's why I'm not surprised whatsoever. I mean, this is the Chengdu Hunters that we got to see yesterday pull out the Pharah on Lijian as well. See here how Becky does against dealing with Jinmu though first, as Lee makes that quick swap over to the Sojourn, so does Easyhan. It's about getting both these teams into that position first to try to contest Jinmu, because this is going to be a big deal as Gaga's the first one to go down.
Look, I like some of the Gaga's play, but what the hell does Gaga know about positioning? Dia has just destroyed him right now and absolutely opened this up for the Valiant to come in here. Becky and Lengza just going in there strong on Monk. Strong start for the Valiant. They get the first cap.
Remember what I was mentioning before here. Even though they do win that first team fight, Trid, I was talking about it on my Hopium, but Valiant, if they manage to come up on top of the Chengdu, just seeing the way that the Hunters have been denied a lot of these week 3 opportunities to make it into the tournament, you know what, this is APAC. I wouldn't be surprised here. Now looking at the Hunters trying to answer back, coming out of the white room, Valiant are already trying to take that passive position to deal with it, but Becky falls low.
Under pressure right now. I mean, Jinmu's gone over to the Genji, so they've given up on the whole Pharah thing. Becky's still going to stick on with the Echo, which is lovely to see. They force him away. Point capture nearly going over to the Hunters. They have positional advantage. That's an isolated Lengster who was causing the stall. Now that he's out of the way, who's actually on this point contesting it? I think it's Dia. The rest of the team are still around the fringes, going to be trading off with Jinmu for the time being. Easyhan's relatively happy to just sit here on the outside and take pop shots into the point.
While Becky still sticks here onto the Echo, trying to build up that duplicate. Gaga gets taken down again, really not having an opportunity to position themselves at the Hunters, are forced to back off a little bit. Jinmu had swapped over to the Genji a little bit ago, right before this fight here too. Dia's going to be able to back off with their life, and Becky's about to have that duplicate next. Monk could answer back with the rally, but it depends on what we're going to see here from Becky, especially when you have that Junker Queen ult ready. So that's going to be 2 Junker Queen ults that the Valley may have in their hands.
Do need to recruit it. It's not guaranteed. Oh my god, Jinmu. Okay. Probably don't need that second Junker Queen ult right now. But they're going to go for it anyway. I mean, Becky put themselves really low. Great carnage there to cut through Monk. Nice little stab, but I don't think they've had enough time to build up that rampage. They don't even need it. Just the presence enough is dominating the Hunters right now.
And they lost their rally for it too, Trid. That's the unfortunate part. So that's something the Valiant are going to be okay with, because, yeah, they have the duplicate. They already used it up, but Dia's got their own rampage. Now Molly's going to be able to answer with the rally as the sound barrier from Nisha gets unloaded, but Leave unfortunately gets taken out before he can really help him out in this situation. The Hunters haven't been able to touch a foot onto this point as 99% is online. Overtime is ticking away for the Valiant. Lengza activating the sound barrier to try to keep their survivability, but look for the rampage real quick here, Trid, from Dia as he takes care of Nisha. He dives in, finds Monk, finds Leaf. They all get sent down super low, in the Valiant already with a dominating performance on this first round.
They managed to get the objective, but it's going to get flipped quite easily. I mean, Dia's showing us why those stats exist. Dia is an animal right now, and you've just seen it all in the first round. Expect more of this in the series. If that happens, Valiant, your Hopium may not be needed anymore, Vicky. Your Hopium just won't be needed. You can just rely on the Valiant to actually win this one. If
the prophecy.
they maintain the level they've presented so far.
It's the prophecy. I don't know, Trid. Again, you look at the history of the Chengdu Hunters, it's almost like the Hunter's curse. And understand, I love pandas. I love pandas all around. They're cute, they're adorable, but the way that they've been denied these opportunities to basically, they barely missed a lot of these tournaments when it comes to these week 3 situations. And this being the series that could really help solidify their position in the Summer Showdown, I mean, with the way the Valiant are playing right now, it's looking like it's not going to be that quick 3-0.
Sure, everyone at home is loving the thought of 5 games of Valiant. But it does go to that 5 map, the 5th map. Valiant do struggle in the 5th maps. So maybe they do want to try and make this a quick 3-0, but in their favor, you know?
See if they have that opportunity right now here as the Hunters are already going to play it off that back end. You saw no players falling low. Incredibly, the shout coming in from the Hunters already. Valiant now, Dia taking a good amount of that damage. Having to play passively though, as they are trying to fight from the very front with Molly getting taken down. Yeah, and Jinmu diving in. They do find that trade though between both the Brigidas. Valiant though are still going to be able to try to contest here at this point, but the Hunters managed to get it first. Here comes that disruptor shot though, still finding a lot of that progress, a lot of that space that he could buy in, and now Dia's going to be able to move all the way up. Sure, the Valiant, or rather the Hunters are able to claim that point here first, but the Valiant immediately swapped that in their favor.
A couple of trades coming in there. Becky taking out Nisha. Jimmy wants us back. A bit of a vengeance coming in here. Hunters are trying to storm back onto the point. Jinmu can just have a lot of angles here to harass, play around the outside, shoot through windows, dash through, and he's got the ability to be able to fight off against the environmental potential that is going to be exerted by Lengsa. Flip for the Hunters, and they're keeping it competitive on the scoreline right now.
Planting their feet on the point here. Becky just trying to get that blade online soon. Lengsa close as well to that sound barrier, as well as Molly with the rally. Trying to take some of these off angles though, because the way the Hunters were able to actually reposition was fantastic, but Jinmu getting picked out first is a green light here for the Valiant to move all the way in. You see Becky now trying to take an off angle, dodging the fail, quickly actually just jumping right back in as Lengsa's able to get that boop onto Monk. Nisha's going to follow him to the graveyard, and the Valiant, without actually having to spend anything, are able to get this point, and now they have their set of ultimates online for that next fight.
Hold the point challenge. Hold the point for more than 20% challenge. Brackets very hard. This is so back and forth right now, Vicky. No one's made substantial progress. This is the only time that Valiant have been able to open it back up. And as you mentioned, keeping a whole lot of those ultimates should mean they get to extend the map percentage lead so far. But Hunters are also accruing the ultimate bank of their own. There's a huge sort of array of options for both teams to use here. It's probably looking towards the blade from Becky, and it's going to pop the support ultimates to come out in response.
Gonna help them out, but EasyHan isn't as lucky here as Becky's gonna be able to at least control the space up front, but EasyHan gets taken down from Jinmu's blade now, finding a lot more of that progress. Comes Dia with the rampage, though, absolutely huge. Yes, found 3, but Monk enters back with the rally themselves. They can't find Nisha just yet. Nisha's so slippery and getting away. Now Molly gets taken down, and the Valiant down 3 people as the Hunters are gonna be able to flip this immediately right afterwards, but 72% already on the favor for Valiant.
Monk had overlap on the rally.
Yep.
Despite Dia having that quite substantially large and in charge rampage, finding 3 people, there was still a support ultimate in effect. There's still a support option for Hunters. One that Valiant weren't able to have in response to match anything, because obviously the rally's going to come through, it's going to provide that additional armor, but not the entire team was affected by the rampage. So they're just getting these passive armor benefits that Molly could no longer also provide to the team. So there's a bit of armor diff going on in the team while that was happening, and Nisha getting dropped before the fight even begins is not how you start a defense, Hunters.
Some of these choke points can easily be controlled by that disruptor shot. Unfortunately, Nisha.
Jinmu,
and now
hello?
Dia gets taken down.
How does Jinmu get away with that? Oh, okay.
They punish Jinmu immediately right afterwards here too, but the way that the Valiant are now finding some of these trades, it's that back and forth that we've constantly been seeing since that last round here too. Gaga's got the rampage though, needs to heal up a little bit as that passive healing is going to be able to come through. Molly gets taken down. Nice shot coming in from EasyHan. Becky felt incredibly low, but managed to restabilize. But a lot of these trades here with the Hunters missing out on Gaga, they have to play as passive aggressively here over to the side choke point.
talk about loving pandas. This is a monkey knife fight, Vicky. It's just all over the place. They're just so back and forth. Go have Hunters in control of the point, though. They're picking up those kills. Becky been dropped. Dia's been dropped. Got to give it to the Hunters. I think they're going to walk away here with this round, forcing out a third one. So that confidence we had in the Valiant might have been a little bit eroded in that round, Vicky. We're going to have to head over to... I've forgotten my maps now. Command Center. There you go. To be able to finish this one off.
Gotta give it to Leave, though. The way that Leave was playing, especially on that second round in the back line, between getting a lot of the pressure down with the disruptor shot, controlling the gateway that would lead to where he's adding in the extra pressure, and the amount of charged shots with the railgun that he was able to put down, he's doing a really good job at controlling a lot of that space.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I'd do it. Yes. Yes, do this, Becky. Stay on the Mei. Bring this Mei flavor we've seen. I love seeing the Mei in these competitions and jokes. It's actually so powerful. You can do this, control the space. The wall takes a lot of resources to break it down. They actually use the advantage as well. Wow. Valiant take out Nisha while they isolated half of the Hunters behind that ice wall.
Super important for what we had seen previously in the London Spitfire. It's very map dependent in these close quarter fights, and they are actually being rewarded for it here too. Jinmu managed to find Molly, but he's lost out on 3 from the Hunters. He's going to reset now as he finds himself back in the spawn, and the Valiants are going to be able to claim this point first, but they got to get to the point first to be able to do that.
Good capture coming in from Valiant. They get the first cap to just retreat back after getting the first fight win. Cut over to the camera quickly, and this is now going to be Hunters going on their offense to try and break through. Not a lot of tools to do so at the moment, Vicky, and you've got to be careful with Becky's ice wall. It really does like force you to play in certain directions, right? Because you now can't take tights. Oh, just like the firing circle that went through Jinmu's head. Look at the confidence the Valiant have to move forward after that pick.
Disgusting, and look how Becky's enabled here too. Gonna be able to help clean up the rest of the Hunters real quick, and it was Easyhan who caught Jinmu out of position over to the side, trying to find an opportunity up to the window to maybe find a flanking opportunity to pressure Valiant, split some of that attention, but got denied the moment that Easyhan found his head. Oh, again.
Jinmu Stay Alive challenge. Brackets very hard. This is now... I'm getting Shy vibes from this, Vicky, and those weren't very good from the last series.
Unfortunate here, too, as it's going to be slow on building up that blade. It is coming online soon, but he falls low again. Still trying to contest over the side room, but here comes the Blizzard from Becky. Seeing the opportunity right now. You see Lexel just holding onto the sound barrier. Gaga gets taken out. Hunters can't even escape this initial entrance right now, Trid. The way that the Valiant are playing this so well with the Mei composition, even the Blizzard, to deny them that space and buy themselves even more time, they're about to wrap up to 80% right now on the point.
Yeah, one fight territory. You see Hunters take an alternative angle to try and get to the point, at least go for the overtime touch if everything goes wrong. But Jinmu can approach this from behind with the blade. If he gets on the point and draws a couple of members of Valiant over, look how fast they're capturing because they sent 2. He can invite some people into his domain, whip out the Dragon Blade and cause a lot of chaos. But that pull away from the front enables space for Hunters to actually break that chokehold.
He could breathe just a little bit, and now you saw Jinmu was in position for the backline to add in the pressure with the blade here. He's found Lengsa, which is huge because he's trying to put down that sound barrier in the middle of it here. The Valiant now, Easyhan managing to find Nisha here, who won't be able to use the sound barrier, which is very desperate here as the Hunters do manage to get this flip on the point, but 99% already in favor of Valiant, and they still have to worry about Dia on the rampage, but Dia's going to get taken down, so it's going to have to be a reset here for the Valiant to dive right back in.
Still got that beat available from Nisha. Fight looks like it's a Hunter's win, which is really what they need here at 99%. I don't think they're in a position to set up a chokehold now, particularly when they're playing against the Mei. But if Gaga can assassinate Becky like that, does mean they can play a little bit further forward and not run the risk of being caught off guard by an ice wall. But Becky's actually going to forego the Mei pick, changing over to the Genji here, hopefully find those routes of ingress. I definitely feel like Mei is going to be much more useful on defense than when you have to actually assault a point.
Yeah. And that's why we saw that quick swap off from Becky. especially with the progress that they already have right now. Becky making the swap over to the Genji. Wants to build into that blade. Dia still has that rampage. Here comes the commanding shout real quick. Hunter's now over to the side. Leave is in a nice angle here. Tries to find Dia. Dia's going to back off right now. Valiant playing this passively. Very similar to what we had seen in that first round right now. Not trying to overcommit, knowing that they have some time to work with.
Great progress from the Hunters. It's still time to play with Rampage, Dia, and Gaga. No support ultimates for the Valiant though. This is going to be problematic if Chengdu pulled the trigger first. They're getting into that final fight territory as well. Once you hit about 90, they take a fight on their terms and win it. They're going to end up taking this first map away from the Valiant after such a strong start from the Los Angeles side.
This is about to get the sound barrier though. Molly already has the rally now, so they have answers to that rampage, just as Nisha does for Dia. Yeah, and actually trying to predict that huge rampage found everybody from the Valiant. Dia tries to answer back, but only finds 2 in this situation. Nisha with the sound barrier. What an expensive fight away from the Valiant. Now the Hunters want to be the nail in the coffin with overtime ticking away. Now the Valiants, all that progress that was in front of them, Trid, just denied in the blink of an eye.
Unbelievable. The 99% comeback there for the Chengdu Hunters. And they go 1-0 in the series so far, despite looking so incredibly lost in Gardens. What a comeback there from the Chengdu over the course of that map. They will now go into lead the series 1-0. And despite Jinmu getting booped away there with the blade, he was somehow able to find another target, which was Becky, and guard the mega health pack away so Becky couldn't get the healing and would die down to the blade. So heads up play there to immediately respond to being booped back away from Lengza so you couldn't actually convert that kill.
Insane comeback too from the Hunters, not only from the reposition opportunity that they had, but also being able to keep their cool and force off that Mei pick, because like we mentioned before, when you have a Mei and you have the advantage, that's when you want to stick to the Mei. You saw the Blizzard that was used up to deny them and to buy themselves even more time on the point, but then once you lose that hold, you are forced to swap off. And even with that quick adaptation from the Valiant, it was not enough from the Hunters, especially in that last fight. Beautifully done here from the Hunters, taking map number 1. Got map number 2 underway at the end of this short break. Welcome back, everyone, to our second series of the day. Off of that insane rampage from Gaga, they secure map number 1 with the rest of the Hunters, and we are going down to map number 2 here, Trey.
Yeah, map number 2 coming up. I always butcher the pronunciation of this one. It's Lucio's map.
Oh, Paraíso.
Yes,
There you
yes.
go.
I'll let someone with some Latin American descent do that one instead. They probably get closer to the pronunciation than I can with my fumbly British accent.
Hopefully, I said it right here too.
I mean, I feel like it's worse if you get it wrong, Vicky. I feel like it's slightly worse.
You know what?
Somehow
You're
if
not
you mess it
wrong,
up.
Trid. You're not wrong. But I guess there is some sort of similarity there. But going on to Paraíso, this is going to be my second time casting this map, and I love it because after yesterday I was talking to Avril. One, the stairs, beautiful. Architecture, amazing. I know you referenced Mono for 2. Gives me that favela vibe, you know what I mean here? And
Yeah.
that's what I really like about not just the music, but just the map structure in general. But it's nice to highlight specifically that first spawn hold could be very tricky. Specifically that first point when it comes to getting to that point, because you have to pass that bridge where you're forced to go in that underpass, because there's no other way to even get to the point once you are forced to actually try to contest right there. So it makes it easier for the defending teams to put on that extra pressure from a better position.
Hey, look, Valiant stairs.
Oh, true, actually. Is this a sign?
It's a good omen of their defense, as they're now passing the Shangdu house.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, this early hold is kind of lethal, kind of nutty. We'll have to get balanced at some point because look how much cover they have on this first bridge to look at the spawn point. Kind of ridiculous, and you see that's why you see such forward holds coming out here on this first map, or this first point. Lots of ways to break around it. Leave, taking a cheeky peek with a headshot. See if we could get a quick pick. Ooh. No, everyone's too smart for that one. They're on to a sneaky game. So he'll change over to the Sojourn and they'll roll out. No! Change over to the Ash to match Easy Han's Ash.
Let's see, you saw Becky quickly turn around real quick. Avoid getting hit by that stray shot. They are still here on the high ground though. And so what we were talking about before, it could be a little tricky to get past that first bridge area. Jinmu's just trying to find that opportunity. Easy Han sticking to that Ash like you were mentioning before though here. Be really nice when it comes to this first point, as Gaga's the first one to go down.
Ooh.
We're talking, really nice shot from Easy Han though, finding Jinmu too, so ready a good start here for the Valiant.
Leave answers back on the Becky though, so there are some crumbling defenses for the Valiant right now. They'll just reset. They're happy to just keep taking this fight because they know that if they lose this, they still have another opportunity to fight on the point itself. It's all about putting the distance, but they've realized that maybe that's untenable with spawn distances, so they'll give up the forward hold and relocate rounds to the point, which will be the final arena for this set of the map.
See, now as the Hunters are going to be able to try to take control over this point, just trying to split some of the attention from the Valiant, only taking some damage. So does Gaga though, falling a little low as he's going to be able to back off. Look at the way that Valiant is looking right here in terms of positioning, though. Looking to disengage before diving right in. Here comes Becky in the front lines as well. See, Lenksa doesn't have that sound barrier, but Nisha and Monk are ahead in terms of the support ults for the Hunter side. Backing away, though, with that Dynamite from Easy Han. Been able to put in a lot of pressure, but Leaf's been able to match him with some of that damage to get that Bob online.
Half the time back burned as well at this point, Vicky. No percentage owned. It's just how defense-sided this map can be, particularly on point A. Hunters have now stepped foot on the point, though, starting to build up that charge. Becky's gone low, forces out the shout from Dia. Keep things sustained. Support ultimates a bit of the way away for Valiant, though, so they can't panic here, because Shangdu are going to have that advantage. Bob can give them some respite, though. Immediately sent him back out to the point. Booped off of it, though, so will not actually be able to contest the point, but does make sure that no one stays on there. Bob, from the Hunters, actually goes into a more enclosed space. Kills are starting to wind in for them. Great shot there from Lead. Rotation round onto Becky. That's the point capture coming in. Point A is undoubtedly theirs. They'll get an extension on the map, and now begins the escort section.
Beautiful play there from Leave as well. Not only with the Bob actually circling in front of him, so that way it could cover him in case somebody else will try to actually contest Leave, give him that extra insurance, but also landing a good amount of those great shots there for the Hunters. So now the Hunters could get into position, try to get onto the high ground to deny that space from the Valiant. Valiant are going to be able to come in with some ultimates of their own. They're about to get the rally to match that with flanks and sound barrier.
This is a corridor of death, by the way, just to the left of where Jinmu is. If people try and contest that, you're asking to get rampaged. So I suggest you don't. Unless you have, like, god tier supports who can just, like, block that and send them back into the house. But that's completely foregone. High ground being held by the Valiant right now. Easyheart finding and weaving these shots in against Leave. This is a jewel of ashes that are really deciding the flow of this fight so far. Becky are unable to get in there down and dirty with the focusing beam to finish off those kills. Is going to sit on that duplication for a next engagement. Could see some double Junker Queen coming into play in the next skirmish.
This is definitely what I'm expecting here, especially with Gaga about to get the Rampage themselves. It's going to be a plethora of ultimates for both sides coming in line soon, but it's the Valiant that still have the lead, about to have 5-man ults going down for this team. Becky on the high ground still, holding on to that duplicate, waiting for the opportunity, because they know right here that the Hunters do have one of the support ults online, knowing Monk probably having that rally. Molly falls incredibly low, manages to survive. Jinmu trying to take a cheeky angle, but it's Dia coming through with those jagged knives like we've seen before, finding that first pick onto Leave. You see the shout from Gaga. Hunter's trying to disengage real quick. Jinmu falls incredibly low, but he still manages to save his own life. Nisha can't say the same here, though, as Becky with that focusing beam manages to find Nisha.
Dia needed to be careful, though. There was a lot of aggression coming out from the Valiant, and they did open themselves up quite nicely to just being dinked from the spawn room. Respawn's coming in. Valiant playing very far forward. They have the camp here, burn more time.
No.
1 minute. Becky deletes Nisha. Not even a chance to react to that one. And the Valiant are sitting on 5 ultimates. And it's very easy to just pick a few people off here. If you get 1 or 2 picks, you're not going to have to burn these ults. And you can maintain these and play it all the way down to the time bank expires.
It's so difficult to get out of this spawn. This is what I was mentioning before. When it comes to catching that point and then seeing where the first spawn is, it's easy for a lot of these teams to hold forward, as Jinmu does have that blade here, but Nisha gets called out again!
No!
Oh,
so
no!
sad for Jinmu!
In the middle of popping the blade, now he doesn't have blade. Nisha keeps getting picked off. He's been the first one to get picked off for the last 3 times that the Valiant has been able to find a lot of this progress. Valiant haven't even had to use any of their ults. They're just hugging the Hunters in their spawn.
While you're out here, sat down, getting niche out here grinding the other team. Just gonna get them locked in the corner. Even Bob's now gonna spawn camp. And what is this? What is this sadism from the Valiant right now? Just absolutely dominating the Hunters. Unable to let them get out of the spawn. 1 minute remaining. Jinmu's gone over to the Tracer just to try and see if they can escape the carnage and get onto the payload. Rally being popped by Molly is going to reinvigorate this fight. This is do or die for Hunters, I feel.
Here you go. Now with the duplicate from Becky, you have the Junker Queen on board. You have the Rampage trying to get built up here as the rest of the entire Valiant clean up the Hunters again. He's just going to Rampage into their spawn because he knows they have nowhere to go. This is what we were mentioning before, but did the Valiant use a lot here? I mean, they still have the sound barrier, but was it worth it?
So expensive, so risky to go on here. They don't win this fight now. They're probably going to be wishing they held on to a couple of those ults. Shandu Hunter done everything. They can send Jinmu to go and touch. Bob is going to be thrown out as well just to control the angles. Taking out Leave is a good start. You're going to have to do this very neutral if you're the Valiant. And like I said, it's just the barrier being popped, but Nisha is going to go and answer that one. Valiant are still doing it though. Gaga goes in with the Rampage, only finding Lengsa as well. This is not the value you wanted to use with your ult advantage. They're just falling behind, and Valiant are weathering the storm.
What a hold right here from the Valiant, holding the Hunters straight into their spawn, hugging them while they're at it, using up their ultimates so that way Easyheart can make his way back after dying, after sending out the Bob initially. But the way the Valiant just played that right there, this is a team that could go from 0 to 100 real quick. This is a team that could play extremely defensive, lose in the middle of being extremely defensive, and then when they feel themselves, instead of being reserved with their ults, they'll quite literally send them all forward. I mean, at that point, they knew that the time was whittling away from the Hunters. They made some desperate swaps. Jinmu from the Tracer, thinking that they could maybe at least split the attention away from the Valiant from the spawn room doors like we saw in Lijiang Tower, but did not work out here. The Hunters fortunately forced to stay in their spawn basically that entire time on attack.
Ready for battle.
You know what? Valiant shouldn't have been able to get away with that one. Shouldn't have been allowed to get away with that one. But they now have a prime opportunity to have that done to them, as it's now for the Hunters' time to go on defense, and they're still committing to the Leave Ashe No Sojourn to be seen. Valiant have the luxury of being able to change things around. I have a feeling they are going to stick with the Sojourn and the Echo, though. I feel like Sojourn's really going to help them penetrate some of the defenses, especially when you can slide through at Mach 5 and reposition if you need to. So not totally against this starting lineup for them.
1. Attackers incoming.
So we can get a little pick here first. Vega didn't go high enough to be able to catch anybody. Gonna be able to make that quick swap, so is Lengsa, and now they're gonna be able to send it in. Leap still sticking onto this Ashe to have those sight lines, especially off the high ground, but actually giving a lot of respect to the Valiant, giving up that initial bridge because they want to hold this other second bridge right here, since this is a choke point that we mentioned before, jumping into this map. Becky's going to be able to try to find an angle, but does have that free opportunity here. Maybe trying to get baited in by Jinwoo to try to cross that corner.
I think they gave that up a little bit too easily, Vicky. I think you want to try and milk more time bank out of that section, but if their defense on the point itself is strong, it doesn't really matter. They can still go for a full hold at this point. I just feel like they've given up an early line of defense, which allowed them to have a second fight should everything go wrong.
Talking about everything going wrong. I mean, you just lost out on Nisha. You lose out on Jinwoo as the start of this fight now. Becky on this Echo has just been a terror right now, and the answer from Leave hasn't really been able to be found, because now the Valiant are going to not only take this first point with ease to get this payload moving, Trid, but they're going to also have enough time to move forward to allow Becky to get into position to prevent the Hunters from doing exactly what the Valiant did to them and setting up in the position in front of their back.
It's an interesting time to be a Hunters fan, I'll tell you that, Vicky. They're just a bunch of interesting critters, bro, you know? They're just unfortunately unable to match against the aggression coming out from the Valiant. A couple of early picks and just cascades from there. 5-minute time bank for not a lot of distance from the Valiant. They're set up on the rooftops right now, contesting through the window, trying to stop Hunters from setting up substantially in this forward high ground position. It does mean it's easier to kind of walk it in. But they are going to reach a point where the Valiant are going to have to be met by the Hunters. The Hunters are going to have to give up this high ground position. They're going to have to start contesting on this corner. You can see they're under a lot of pressure from multiple angles already. And Leave, if he doesn't get some headshots here, it's going to be all over for the Hunters, because they're going to get dove on quite quickly, I imagine.
Just so much respect coming in from Leave here too. Just find some of those shots, as EasyHan's now going to try to take a different off angle. He's got that charge shot, misses that shot unfortunately though, while trying to charge up the second one. He's about to get the overclock, as well as Dia's going to be able to control this point. Gaga goes down. Yeah,
who's touching point?
Gaga's gone. Oh! They need to stay on the point. They're just holding forward. They're just trying to clean up the Hunters here first, Trid. They know what's important, and unfortunately the Hunters, even with that Lucio just over to the side here from Nisha, isn't going to be enough to contest. You have nobody left, and the Valiant take map number 2, evening up our map. Or our match, rather.
I'm not going to put it on an individual here, Vicky, but there is a bit of a JQ diff going on right now, and I know that's a bit of a team effort because the Junker Queen is always going to be a focal point to some of this aggression. We'll need support from the rest of the team. But Gaga is consistently getting bodied in these fights much quicker than Dia. And especially when you're in those crunch times when you're playing over an objective in that last meter or sub-meter territory, if you are losing your Junker Queen, you are forcing someone else to go and sit on that payload, and you saw how beyond the payload Valiant were prepared to push Hunters off. So you immediately cause a split in the fight. One of you has got to go and touch the payload, and you start losing your Junker Queen like that, and it causes a split decision and a split pack, which allows Valiant to divide and conquer.
Yeah, despite that huge rampage that we saw at the very end on Lijiang, where Hunters took that first map, the consistency that we have been seeing from Dia on the Junker Queen has really shined through for this team. I also believe that Echo pick from Becky had so much impact. The focusing beam also nailing down Nisha. Well, we saw it 3 times in a row. That's what really allowed the Valiant to get not only that momentum on their side, but to build up into that line of ultimates that they were waiting to use for the opportunity. Once they had lost out on EasyHan, that's when they kind of fully sent it in. After that Bob was out, they were all enabled, and the Valiants also just being enabled on their attack. So a great showcase from the Valiant to even up this match series currently. We got game number 3 coming up shortly. You don't want to miss this. Welcome back, everyone. We have an even series on our hands right now between the Valiants and the Hunters. And Trid, the Valiant were hugging the Hunters in their spawn. I mean, I can't make this up, but I was looking at the score, and I'm telling you right now, I could only imagine what the Shock and the Philly fans are feeling right now, looking at the Valiants with big eyes as they are evening things up with the Hunters right now, very much putting themselves in a very good position.
Yes, yes, yes. Ties out the series, moving into map number 3. A little bit of watch point Gibby to help everyone out today. I know you're familiar with that term.
Oh, yeah.
Vicky.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got
Off with
shields
your
for
other
days.
shenanigans.
But looking at us going into watch point now, Trid, I was asking you during the break, are we expected to see more of the Ashe still here with those longer sight lines, or are we going to still stick to the Sojourn? Wondering here for the Hunters, because Leave did feel pretty comfortable on the Ashe, but we saw what happened. I feel like looking at the Junker Queen difference between these two teams, like we highlighted Dia before going into the break, Gaga seems much more reserved with their Rampage in comparison to what we've been seeing from Dia. So it's not, I feel like it's not just the raw impact, but it's also just the choice of using the Rampage has really not been in Gaga's favor. And I want to be able to see that used much more aggressively, because there was times where the Valiant didn't have their support ults online, where Gaga had that Rampage ready to go to contest them, but didn't really pull the trigger on it.
3, 2, 1.
Be a little bit more proactive. It might be a symptom rather than a cause for Vicky as well for this one. It might be that they're not just given the setup they need to be able to actually pull off using the Rampage, more so than them just like not proactively using it. Good force there from Dia to get Gaga and crew away from that forward hold position. You see the setup around the payload, looking to try and take the high ground away. Gaga isolated, using the shout to reinforce the team. Did a 2v1 here around the corner, has to play around the screen. But look at the Goon Squad come in to clean up. He called the squad in to come and help him from being jumped.
That commanding shout. Gotta call in the Gremlins real quick. The squad to be able to help you out, cover that corner. Gonna be able to capitalize, get that pick onto Dia. As well as the Hunters also gonna be able to build into some of those ultimates early on here too. You can see Jinmu, of course, already nearing 45% on that blade. It's gonna be a difference here too, as Becky has opted to stick to the Echo. Oh.
For the time being, okay, Zihan. I mean, now Becky's also in a very dangerous situation here.
Wait,
No, Molly knocked Gaga off.
What?
Molly actually knocked Gaga off with the rocket flail. That was an intentional decision.
Oh,
I know we didn't get the best angle. It did look like Gaga was just desperate for the kill, but like, no, that was Molly's work there. Molly's handiwork coming in clutch there to try and turn it around. It's looking very dire for the Valiant against the coastline.
It looked very wonky there too, because we didn't get the angle of the flail in that moment, but we did get to see that boob come in as Valiant are trying to get this payload past the car wash. But look at this very similar position that we're seeing from the Hunters, very similar to our first series that we had on our hands with the charge here too, holding on to that high ground position. One difference here though is, Trid, is that Easyhan and Becky, there's no Genji here to start this initiation, so it's going to be really Becky and the duplicate to get that Junker Queen to allow themselves to have that position advantage here. This is the Disruptor Shot already controlling the space underneath them, and the Commanding Shout as Monk gets taken down. Here comes Gio with the Jagged Blade once again, and Easyhan to clean up the support lineup that is Nisha left.
Well, viewers of our previous series are going to be quite happy because I now actually get to see Point B of Watch Point Gibraltar, so that's good. Progress is being made, nature is healing. That was quite disgusting by Dia. Also, the accuracy again, just hit, well, to be fair, it wasn't too challenging. Point blank range dagger blade, deals damage, knife through the chest, instant kill. In most situations, not in Overwatch for some reason. But they were able to convert it quite well. Hunters didn't really have an answer. They have got 2 damage ultimates online right now, the Blade and the Bob. Bob can be used to stall out here, which is exactly what we're going to do. Extra crossing on the point, control some space. And Jinmu doesn't even need the Blade to find Molly. And if I'm Jinmu and Hunters, I'm trying to hold on to that Blade. I don't want to double dip here.
Especially with the quick disengage from the Valiant after losing out on Molly. This is going to separate Molly, though. You can see Jinmu getting into position onto the high ground real quick here. Gonna be able to see that opportunity as all the Valiant are about to have all their ults online. Nice dynamite coming in from Leave. See Monk already about to get that rally here too as the Hunters dive in. They jump from the high ground here. Here comes the sound barrier from Lensa and the rally to help out the Valiants. Now Nisha answers back with their own sound barrier, and Nisha gets shut down immediately afterwards. Dia gets taken down, so does Jinmu. Valiant have the actual contention here with the Bob being an extra body for the Valiant. They're going to be able to have the number advantage on their side.
Yeah, it does lose the duplication, but the fight's already over at that point. He's able to just snipe Leave on the exit as well. No survivors. As they push through to the final section of point B, going to get time extension as well. Might see one last contestant here. Jinmu has to go in with their life, missing from the rally bonus. That is a huge misfire from the Hunters. I know what the intent was, and yes, if you could have lined it up a little bit better, maybe commit the ultimate to try and make things work there. But you lose Jinmu, you force the rally, you're already halfway to losing your second member of the fight. You've just wasted an ultimate there, not by Monk's misplay. It was a mistiming by the team.
And with that time of their death there too, they have now allowed this next corner to get pushed up by Becky to get into position onto the high ground as well. So they're going to be able to have this free ring over this long distance here where Leaf is going to be able to put down some of that extra pressure. Leaf could get up to the high ground over the next section, but here comes Becky already trying to contest him on the low ground here. He's going to be able to back away thanks to Lengsa helping him out. EasyHan has now found Leaf. No Bob here as the Rampage comes in. Finds 3 here onto the Valiant.
Doesn't matter to EasyHan.
Oh yeah, EasyHan manages to get that trade, but Gaga is now going in. So is Dia. Another Rampage to answer back, and the Hunters get wiped. Leaf now finally coming back, and the Valley have not stopped this payload trade.
Big spawn box him. No one's going to touch. Look at that time bank. 3 minutes 5. Completion on Gibraltar. Bobbert coming out a little bit too late here. EasyHan just coming out here with the easy claps. Twice finding those headshots with the railgun. Shutting down. It doesn't matter that Gaga was a little bit more proactive using a 3-man rampage onto the Valiant. EasyHan's taken out 2 members anyway. Like, I'm pretty sure Dia could have got more from the Rampage, but there weren't more bodies on the field available for that to happen.
Yeah.
So once you lose 2 members, 3 of them, the remaining members are now anti-healed. It's tiny Overwatch and everyone gets deleted. 3 minutes and 5 seconds, Vicky. That's obscene to be having on Gibraltar.
Absolutely huge here too. I love how you pointed that out. EasyHan had taken down 2 before getting taken down themselves after Gaga had utilized that Rampage, but at that point, you're at the member disadvantage. The rest of the Valiant are right there too. Dia also had that Rampage there too as well to answer right back. The Hunters, they had a plan, but with how close they were and with the payload that it was literally unstopped there in the corner, it was so difficult for the Hunters to find a pacing that would have made them feel comfortable on the defense now. Like we see right now on the time bank, 3:05. Mr. Worldwide here, coming in from South Florida. Got to talk about it a little bit here as the Valiant now are on the defense, are going to be on the high ground.
People, have you?
Hey, that's a great time back here. And this is the Valiant that we're talking about right now. This is the team that has just been dumpstered this stage so far, and they're doing an amazing job against the Hunters, which is something that we have been commonly seeing when it comes to this matchup.
Plenty of time for the Hunters to answer back. Completion is what they need right now. We can worry about the time back later. Just actually need to get the point C for that to have any real bearing on the result of this match. Got some good speed up there. Becky just caught napping, caught lacking, and it's been taken out already. That's going to free up so much space for them to just gently escort this one through. But hang on a minute, what are Valiant doing? They're actually going to assault the backline, and it's a bit of a mistake. EasyHan's been caught out here. They're trying to skeet shoot. Oh, Leave!
Bye, Leave. Nice. Boop for boop from both of the Lucios here. I also saw...
Actually...
what?
That was a coach gun shot as well. That was a Leave coach gun plus the sound wave, I think. So that was double distance being put in there.
Double the boops, double the fun here. Becky's going to back up just a little bit. I saw that Lengsa and Molly had also tried to go for a contention on the Hunters' backline there too. Just getting into position. But now with the disengage here, you can see the Hunters now trying to get into position, trying to enable Jinmu. Doesn't have that blade online here, but you see Nisha's coming close to that sound barrier, a bit ahead of Lengsa.
Yeah, it's about a 20% lead. And kind of grows a little bit in Nisha's favor. I mean, the problem is that, like, the problem is Becky loses their head, but another problem is going to be, like, you're typically using these sound barriers reactively, so even if Nisha is winning the sound barrier war, as long as they're outpacing the damage options from the Valiant, more so than Lengsa, it's not too much of an issue, because I can't see Nisha using this proactively, unless they are 100% sure they have a serious advantage, which they clearly do, because they are just cutting through the Valiant right now on point A.
Oh, nice. And staggers Becky a bit there too as well. So the Valiants are going to have a lot of extra room to work with pushing through with this payload after this first point. They did have to use Nisha's sound barrier to be the insurance policy to guarantee themselves to take control over that fight, but Jinmu has been doing such a good job at controlling Becky. Becky's also been getting contested by Leaf. This is what Leaf desperately needed to do as the rally gets popped from Molly. Here comes the Bob now from Leaf here too to control the inside of that ship. Lexa also has a sound barrier in case they need to use it after they drop down. Here comes the sound barrier from the Valiant to help that survivability, and they win that trade after Jinmu gets taken down. By the way, after trying to use that blade at the very end, the focusing beam from Becky shuts him down. Gaga left over to the side. Now the rest of the Hunters get cleaned up, and the Valiant now can regain their footing on this defense.
Okay, they put the parking brake on the payload. It's the first stop on their journey to burning through this time bank. Like I said, they've got ultimates available now. Rampage is going to be quite useful here. It just depends on the routes of ingress that Hunters are going to take, right? I don't see Dia getting a 5-man here, just because of how the geometry of the map is and how split Hunters might play with Ashe in this next section. You don't need to get 5 members though. You just need to get a few and make it substantial. Everyone has to hide from Easy Han. They're using the overclock. Everyone at bay. Buys time for Becky to find the duplication target. Bring that online as well to try and help with this next defense.
Overclock and the charge shot. Not going to land its shot here, but it does buy them the respect and time to window away from the Hunter's time bank on getting this payload to that second point here. Becky also has the duplicate online, and like you mentioned, Dia with the Rampage here, but it's a matter if the Hunters jump right down as the Jugger Queen copy comes in from Becky. Huge Rampage now coming in from the Hunters to answer right back. Catches Becky, falls low, boots them out of the duplicate. Finds 3 on the Rampage, but didn't solidify that pick until getting Dia from Nisha over to the side. Denies the Rampage from being used up from the Valiant this time around, and now the Valiant down 2, and it's going to be climbing as the Hunters are going to be able to get that progress on the payload.
Think about how much time it takes for an Echo duplication Junker Queen to build that ultimate. It takes quite a while. And that's one of the drawbacks of people that question whether you can go for the Junker Queen duplication is because the ultimates is such a long time to accrue. Easy Han's going to take even longer when they come back from the spawn room to accrue theirs. But when you drop the Rampage on top of a duplicated Junker Queen, you're borderline making it impossible for them to accrue it. They don't have any sustain, so they can't play as aggressively to try and race against the clock to get the ultimate online. You basically cut all the value out of that Junker Queen duplication when it comes to if your target is going to be the Rampage. Obviously there's other benefits from having a Junker Queen on the map, but it's quite an interesting choice to be able to go after the duplication and how it does change what you can do.
Wow, this aggressive position from Valiant to just dive onto the payload immediately after the Hunters were on the high ground is very interesting. They used the rally there from Molly. No engagement from the Hunters. They just wanted to poke from afar. You can see the Disruptor shot as well as the Rampage coming in from Dia. Does find Monk, does find Gaga, but Nisha's right there with the sound barrier to combine that with Monk and the survivability of the rest of the Hunters. It works amazingly in their favor here, Trid. And despite the Valiant trying to take away that time bank away from the Hunters, so that way they don't have that advantage, they lose out on this team fight and they lose out on some ults of their own, specifically the Rampage and the rally that they used to start that engagement.
The Chengdu Hunters are certainly giving the Valiant everything tonight. Going against this 305 time bank, Jinmu, sorry, will have that blade ready to go. Valiant are in a better position to try and go for this late defense. Beat has to come out there. Great opportunity to save members of the Valiant. Easy Han was the only person to not receive it. They've locked Nisha in the corner. Eardrum's blown out, and here's Jinmu's blade. But Easy Han with the EZ clap finds Jinmu and shuts that down right away. 2 minutes remaining, and the Valiant have to dig in their heels.
Always so good at shutting down Jinmu in those specific important opportunities. Easy Han with these charged railgun shots. Now is about to get the overclock as well. Falls incredibly low, gets taken down. Jinmu basically finding revenge. Immediately fights 2 off the rip. What a great opening for the Hunters. This is the redemption arc right here, Trid.
Length is going to get cut down here. You still got Dia up. Dia needs to get in position. Dia needs to... Dia? Hello?
A lot of respect. Dia
Too
said,
much respect.
I'm the only one here.
Too much.
I don't like this.
No, that's not respect, Vicky. That's disrespect. That's Dia assuming Chengdu Hunters are going to stop off the point. Yes, there was a boot back. Clearly, you could see some harassment coming in from Nisha to stop that from happening. But see if we can get a replay of this one. Oh, we're actually getting a shot here of the shutdown.
Boom.
Slide and just bonks the head with a railgun shot. Fantastic play there. But yeah, I think Dia was just under a lot of pressure. I think we saw Nisha using some sound waves to keep them away and try and deny them. But Dia ran down the clock a little bit too much, I think, even with that sound wave denial.
Didn't help that Gaga also had a rampage too, with that anti to make it harder for Dia.
It does, but Dia wasn't even in range to touch, so it wasn't even at risk of getting like rampaged, you know? It was like, if Dia touched and then got rampaged, I'd be like, ah, fair enough, they've just been killed because they got an anti-healed. But like, Dia didn't even get on the payload. So like that rampage, cool, you dodged the rampage, but you let them cap. So what have you really done?
Now with 1 minute, 37 seconds on the clock here for the Hunters, they take the payload to the finish line. The Valiant still have that time bank advantage. Now you can see them pushing up a little bit more aggressively than where they were positioned beforehand on their previous defense. Over by the high ground, over by the back side. Leave quickly, just trying to see if we can take a peek with the Widow. See Jinmu trying to force them out a little bit before diving back in, and Leave is going to make the swap.
What to though? Ashe? Okay. It's consistently what they've been picking, so no real surprise. Becky's been flailed. Okay.
Oh.
If the silliness keeps going, Vicky, I might need to declare this one a toilet bowl. I feel like the silliness is ramping up over time, and it will reach an apex where the swirl of the bowl starts to form. And we're so close to that happening. I'm not going to call it yet, but just be on guard. It may happen.
Let's see here. Leaf falls incredibly low, is going to be able to get restabilized. Lengsa falls low there too, and Jinmu has the opportunity. Jinmu has been able to capitalize since the very end of that push on the payload. Now currently you see them cleaning up the rest of the Valiant, and that time bank here is going to be dwindled in the way that the Valiant want. Less than 30 seconds when they get that first point, which is incredibly important here. Looking at the way that the Hunters were doing a better job, at least in the defense when it came to this first point against the Valiant.
Overtime will be in effect before they can get the capture on point B. It's a pretty strong benchmark to set, considering the time bank they had. No extension comes in for the Valiant, but they do still have the Mr. Worldwide to play with. So, can they stop this? Or will the overtime force him to the final section? Becky might die to the dynamite here, unless he gets support, which he's found. Raid boss down. Jinmu found by Dia, showing us why he's leading the stats of the damage. And Becky just absolutely dismantled by the coach gun. But the Valiant have done enough here. Monk is going to be pushed away. Can't really survive this one. Gaga should get picked off slowly after. Yes, you do get the cancellation and bring Dia with you with no sustain. And the shout being used now. Gaga should fall. Overtime cuts down. And that's a fairly attainable benchmark for 305 that Valiant can hit.
Depends on how they're going to approach this with the way that the Hunters were holding the defense again last time. Didn't really work out for them as well, but they did have more of that success on that first point to deny that from the Valiant. At least deny some of the time that they were able to accrue at the very end, though. With that 3 minute and 5 second time bank, there's a lot of time for Valiant to work with there. Last fight, though, at the very end, really helpful commanding shot from Dia, despite getting taken down. That is what allowed the Valiant to get into the position to clean up the Hunters, because Jinmu was gaining that momentum. He was on another level, and he needed to be stopped.
Hunter's defense now, still rolling out with the Leave Ashe. LA Valiant still have time to chain. Wouldn't be surprised they still run with the Sojourn and Genji combination here. But Becky has shown some prevalence on the Echo, so might be running out with this particular flavor. Now, they got 305 to play with. They've got to get just shy of halfway through point B in order to be able to win out this map, take us to series point in their favor. I think our next map archetype is going to be push anyway, so it might get spicy in the next map. You probably want to be in the position of power with how flip-floppy a push map can be.
Especially after our last series there too. Gonna see here, Becky making the quick swap back to the Echo. Gonna be able to see here with Dia as well, taking some of that extra damage. Don't play by too close to the rocks here. We know that Monk's got tricks up his sleeve, but you've seen the same thing from Molly and Lengsa. The Hunters are gonna be able to take control of the high ground still. See Becky getting taken down first again. Has been the first to get taken down in these entry points of pushing here. So that's the second time we see Becky first getting taken down, as Jinmu's going to be able to hold forward a little bit here. See Easy Han.
hold on the side for the time being. Valiant, they found an entryway through last time by taking these stairs up, clearing out high ground, and then collapsing people round by Coastal. Dia doesn't quite connect there with the Jagged Blade to get the pull down. Becky again being sniped by Leave. Dia's point blank range hits Gaga. Gaga smells blood in the water. Tried to go aggressive, decided against it, but now he knows he's got him against the wall. But the support from the team comes in to turn it around. Gaga called the squad last round. This time it was time for Dia to get on the old dog and bone and call his homies down.
3 from the Hunters died in that stairwell alone, and all initiated by Dia with some help from Molly. Lenksa to help them out there too. Now they're going to be able to get through the car wash here without the Hunters taking control over that high ground position that they were holding before.
Dia's a bit of a roadman right now. Needs to keep this up, build towards that ultimate, hit him with the rampage. 1 minute 28 remaining. And on the cusp again, point A, Jinmu pulls out the blade, swinging in the air for the time being. Beat comes in late, but it doesn't matter, as Lengza and the rest of the team have already overlapped the duration of that blade. Dia did go down in the fight. Becky on back on Gaga, and Hunters are at a man disadvantage. Valiant should be able to convert this into the point A objective and get that extension into point B. All coming up here for the Valiant fans. Taze on Days getting a little bit excited now.
Oh, I'm getting excited too. Looking at the way that Dia has been able to initiate some of these fights, Becky falling incredibly low is going to be able to survive that dynamite, but the way that Dia's been able to get these initial picks with that Jagged Blade has just been on another level. That's what started off the fight, despite Dia losing their life in the beginning of it there too. Waited out on that blade from Jinmu too, thanks to Lenksa and the sound barrier. Now Nisha's going to be able to have that sound barrier for this next fight. They need it. Jumping down from the high ground. Here comes the bomb from Lee, and Becky now with the duplicate, going to be able to try to rack up some of that rampage potential to try to match up with Gaga. So is Dia. Molly keeping everybody up alive though from the Valiant with that rally, and Becky won't be able to get that rampage trade because now he gets booted out of it.
Easyhan can't find the sightlines here. The fight's too scattered. No one's really fighting up the objective, and if they are, they're hiding behind the payload. Here comes a big surge from the Hunters to push back and get objective control as we get down to the final moments. Gaga finally getting the better of Dia with the carnage as Jinmu starts to pick up the kills as well. They're going to really struggle to take this away. If they can stall for overtime, maybe there's a chance for the Valiant still do this, but the Hunters have come out with an absolute storm of a defense and forced the Valiant away. Overtime is ticking down. Dia maybe can use the rampage to touch if he can get sightlines on it. Becky assassinating Nisha is actually huge here. Easyhan on the Tracer going to keep it. Dia re-enters into the fight, only catches Gaga, but that might be enough to turn the battle. But Gaga comes out with the carnage to shut him down. The Valiant, so close yet so far. Shungdu Hunters hit us to match points.
With a better time bank gets denied, and Hunters shut down Dia the way that they needed. Gaga really popping off at the end the way that Gaga needed right there, because Dia would have had the rampage for that last fight. That would have turned everything around, but I believe Dia died at what, 95, 98%, which was incredibly detrimental to that final fight for the Valiant.
Performance there from the Hunters, taking us over to the 2-1 scoreline as we head into our fourth map. Vicky, you wanted anarchy, you wanted chaos, you wanted the Valiant to come up here and disturb the Hunters campaign. You know, the Valiant right now, they're out of the contention. They can't really compete when it comes around to the playoffs, but they still play spoiler to the Shungdu Hunters. They have one. They can come back into this one. The Hunters need one more map win, and they can secure themselves relative safety for the playoffs. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we will have Colosseo here waiting for you.
Welcome back, everyone. The Chengdu Hunters, they managed to clutch out map number 3, but Trid did some math here, and I believe that means that the Spark do not have the opportunity anymore to qualify into the Summer Showdown, which is why we had to emphasize this series so much, because with the Valiant coming close a lot of times in the past with the Hunters, this could have really gone the distance, and it is. We're now moving on to map number 4, and we are moving on to a push map on Coliseum.
Yeah, Coliseum is our next destination. Players are still getting ready, so we might have a brief delay getting into the map itself. Hunters managed to come out there quite strong at the end, not giving up. Valiant, though, like, 3-minute-5 time, like, the Mr. Worldwide, it just... It got depleted in a way that I didn't think it would. I genuinely thought Valiant were going to take that map. So it does still leave the series a little bit open. Push can be very flip-flop. The problem I'm going to say, and I don't like doing this because it kind of puts a little bit of a negative spin on things, is that push rewards consistency. Neither of these teams have been consistent this series, in my opinion. They've been so back and forth. There's been so many balls that have been dropped across the board that I have a feeling that this could just be anarchy. If one team can just have a modicum of consistency, they'll win this map. Valiant fans, pray that it's Valiant, because then at least you'll force out map number 5 and have a chance for another Fiesta. Oasis will be our decider if we get that far. Coliseum, however, if the Hunters turn up to play, I'm sorry Valiant fans, I'm sorry Tayzonde, it will not be a victory today.
So close yet so far, but you mentioned it at the beginning of the series, Trid, that if this was going to go to a map 5 situation, that tends to be where Valiant fumble the bag. They tend to lose those game 5 series, so going the distance may not be the best here for Valiant. They really wanted to try to secure that last map. Unfortunately, again, the Hunters were able to take it over them, so Coliseum having that more of that standoffish start here, of course, having the wall right next to you, so that way you could be able to capitalize off of your Sojourn. I'm not surprised that we're seeing Leave now stick to the Sojourn rather than the Ashe this time around, because you have more of that medium to like long range distance here in this close fight closer to the bot, where you get more capitalizing off of the Sojourn. So I'm excited to see how this is going to work in favor for the Hunters.
Well, they're moving themselves over to the point, getting themselves there nice and early. Innovation in the roster, like I said, with the Mei, going to be the variance that we want to see here from LA Valiant. This quite tight corridor in particular, I can see the Mei getting a lot of value. However, if it does emerge out of this point, we may want to see Innovation change over to something else. We might not be able to get this benefit from the tightness and the geometry of the map.
Yeah, Innovation coming in here. Valiant getting that contention for the bot. Here comes Dia. Here comes that wall, though. The wall really helping out the Valiant. With that Carnage from Dia, going to be able to get Gaga. Jinwoo's going to follow right afterwards. And initially starting off, getting that momentum with the bot here is so important. Now you're going to be able to get the progress, and you can see that they're staggering through as the Hunters are going to have to go for a reset.
Yeah, that wall coming into great effect there at the end, just to pick up a few stragglers and make sure they were cut off from resources. Don't think the wall maybe made that much difference for Gaga, who was already low and under pressure, but once that wall came up, it pretty much shut down any chance Hunters had of actually helping Gaga maybe survive a little bit longer and escape behind terrain. But they were already on the back foot when they came off that one, so it's a really hard situation for the Hunters to deal with, especially if Easy Han's just going to clap Leave like that.
Easy Han's been landing these lethal shots. Molly gets taken down by Jinwoo to the side here. See those pains coming down. Innovation's just sticking close here with the rest of Valiant. Lengths is about to get the sound barrier here too, Trey, just trying to find that opportunity.
Innovation has to use that ice block. Roll up, boys found the flank through. Gaga's in his face to find him, finished off. Yeah, just nowhere to escape then. Corridor death. Hunters are clapping back, and they're going to push the ball all the way back to the middle, start getting some progress of their own.
Jinwoo allowing the rest of the Hunters to find that opportunity by busting the back right there of the back line of the Valiant. Now they're going to be able to move forward. They're going to have a plethora of ultimates to work with, but so do the Valiant to answer right back. Trying to take control over the high ground. Molly gets taken out by Jinwoo again. Great positioning for Jinwoo. Also avoiding Innovation at the same time. Innovation falls a little low here. But the Valiant are going to have to now waste even more time actually regroup here with Molly, but if they have the opportunity, they won't with Jinmu. With the blade, he's going to be able to isolate Easy Han. Now he's going to be able to try to catch Lengsa, who pops the sound barrier to keep at least the Valiant alive. But all for naught, as Easy Han was the one to go down, they do find that pick on the Gaga, but the Hunters are getting progress on this bot.
Yeah, unfortunately, Easy Han was a little bit too isolated for Length's beat to really have any effect or come in fast enough, so unfortunately you do lose one immediately. Mutes the fight eventually and push them back. So I want to see how Innovation tends to use this Blizzard, right? Like, you're probably going to use it at a choke point where there's a lot of contests, so you can get maximum value, because as a space denier in a perpetually moving objective, it doesn't really work out so hot. You really want to be using it at a point of conflict rather than a denial of like an objective. They're going to throw the Blizzard out, put it over the bot itself. There's a good few members that are going to be caught in that storm, cutting off the reinforcements for it. Leave, still trying to use the overclock, slides forward after pumping some damage. Gaga and Nisha there to get the final blows and tidy up the kills. Great retake there by the Hunters. They'll get the payload back in motion, moving to their side and trying to extend their lead a little bit further.
Now they're already repositioned onto the high ground. See Jinmu just moving a little bit up, trying to call out Easy Han. Dia does have that Rampage ready. So control over the bridge, though, as the Hunters still manage to move. Here comes the Rampage from Gaga. It finds 3. Innovation gets taken down for it. Dia still manages to catch Jinmu with that Dragon Blade here. And so now with Valiant going to go for a trade for trade, the Hunters still are in control over this bot. It's going to get contested by Dia, who, again, just holding on to that Rampage. The Hunters quick to disengage here, though. They're going to give that a little bit of that progress to Valiant because they could afford to regroup with Jinmu.
Pushback is there. Gonna get a conflict right in the center again. There's enough distance away now where a clean fight results in spawns creating an equilibrium fight. If it isn't like the apex of the push. Being put down in the center here, Valiant need to win this fight consecutively to try and get some progress. But if you lose Innovation right at the beginning, unlikely to be able to succeed in that one. And you're just gonna lose that progress. This is this consistency we're looking for in the push map type, Vicky. You need to win fight after fight because the respawns are going to create constant conflict around where the robot is last situated.
Now as it goes underneath that bridge right here, you can see the Hunters actually just trying to go for a split, try to force the Valiant off. He is so patient, though, with this Rampage. They're just trying to find an opportunity where the Hunters are grouped up in that corridor that you see right there. It's Disruptor shot, controlling some of that extra space ahead of the bot. Tia's going to be able to move forward. Lynx is about to get the sound barrier, but the Hunters trailing them in terms of their ult charge here too. Look at Monk, look at Nisha right here. They have an answer, and they have Jinmu, who's waiting for an opportunity with a blade. He dives in, and he tries to find the opportunity, but a great move to try to wait out that blade if they can now. See the rally from, Monk here going in, as Nisha's going to be able to call in the sound barrier. Big Rampage onto Gaga and leave, but the sustainability from the Hunters is too much. That's why we had to highlight the fact that they had those ultimates ready. Lengsa went down without being able to take advantage of the sound barrier here, and now the Valley are going to get cleaned up.
Jinmu had a really rough time blading there. Like, Jinmu pulled out the blade, got excellent knockback there to keep them away from the fight. And then when he went to Easy Han, he was so conscious of a quick Easy Han railgun that he actually took the time to deflect with the ultimate up to stop any chance of a bullet sniping him. And by that point, Easy Han had already hit the gas and just disappeared out of the range of the blade. So did not have the easiest time implementing anything there. Still, ultimately, like you said, Vicky, the sustain came out true for the Hunters and they were able to win out that fight. Pushback is coming here from the Valiant. And the Hunters are okay with this. They've got that positional advantage. They know Valiant are going to encroach onto them for one fight before they can push it beyond their marker. They managed to basically get to the checkpoint. That's a sizable distance that the Valiant are up against whenever they win these fights. 2 fights is what they're going to need in a row to be able to break this hold and succeed over Hunter's score.
So 3 minutes here, Easy Han with the shots, gonna be able to use that overclock to find Nisha, gonna be able to find Gaga next. This is what the Valiant needed. The rally to also enable Easy Han to clean up the rest of the Hunters. They use those 2 ults, and now they're gonna be able to move along, and they're about to get the Blizzard as well as a sound barrier online again. Leave also has that overclock, and I'm looking at Jinmu with that blade, but then it's gonna be up to Lengsa to help keep the rest of the Valiant alive with that sound barrier for that next upcoming fight.
Blizzard's going to be huge here. Vicky. Blizzard, when they're contesting a checkpoint, a static point that is going to be defensible, can actually be huge. You can probably see Innovation wants to try and use this on the corner to clear some space, because that's where the next conflict is going to be. But if they enter into a tight, compact space under the bridge like this, definitely was happy to pull the trigger early, I think, on this one to make sure they can win out the fight. Leave, a lot of power denied. With the last shot finds Easy Harm, though. So Denial needed a little bit extending. This is bad for the Valiant. I don't think they can commit many ultimates into this one. You've got Innovation. It'd be really cheeky for you to throw the Blizzard out, especially when you're that low, but you're going to go for it anyway. Under the bridge. Look at the disengage from the Hunters. They don't want to play in the snow today.
They don't, but I really like the angles that Leaf was taking here. Now as the blade comes in, you see the sound barrier waited out from Lexa to try to contest it, but Innovation and Dia still go down. So much damage as the shout from Gaga allows everybody from the Hunters to move up without actually having to waste a good amount of their own ultimates. They still have Rampage, they still have Rally, and the sound barrier. Meanwhile, the Valiant just used the sound barrier right there and the Blizzard.
I don't see the Valiant coming back into this one, Rose. I think, Vicky, I think it's like, you've got 3 ultimates, right? You've got the Rampage, both support ults for the Hunters. You've only got a Rampage from Dia. You're going to need Easy Harm to click some heads if you have any chance of pushing this back. Yes, they've not gone the full distance. Like I said, they don't need to in the context of a push map. 1 minute 20 left. If Hunters can just win 1 or 2 fights out of the next 4 that might happen, they in fact don't even have the time for that. In the next 3, they're just going to win out the series anyway. Wall's been put up. There's the Rally coming in.
Oh,
Rampage finds 4 to kick things off from Gaga.
Oh, deletes Innovation, Easy Han here too. Lexa's gonna follow. Molly falls incredibly low, but the rest of the Valiants get completely wiped out with that Rally into Rampage combo. You love to see it from the Hunters. Another team fight win, and now they're gonna get even more progress with this push bot.
Yeah, this is rough for the Valiant fans. I think this is series over at this point, Vicky. You're going to have to do it in overtime if there's a quick turnaround here. You're relying on the quick fight from Dia to get that Rampage down onto multiple members of Hunters and just clear them off quickly and get this payload back in the opposite direction. If they don't do that and then follow up consecutive fight wins, they are not going to find themselves winning today. Gaga able to sustain through that one. Rampage cuts through, only finds Nisha and Jinmu.
Oh, tries to use that blade to actually catch Nisha, but Nisha gets away, and that's important because the sound barrier is still on the field for the Hunters to use for that next fight. Less than 5 seconds on the clock. The Valiant are going to be able to get this bot moving, but you see the disengage from the Hunters, and now they're going to be able to try to dive in without Gaga, though, because EasyHan claims him. Now Lexa also finds Leaf. Good news here for the Valiant to turn things around now, though, because the Hunters won't be able to use that sound barrier if they manage to find Nisha on the backline.
This is the thing though, right? They're in a good stead right now. They're going to meet the blockade and push that a little bit further. There's still one more fight to be done in overtime. They match it. This will be the final fight of this map. No doubt, Vicky. Yeah. Because there's no time for a counter-attack, really. Like, there's no way that the Hunters are able to do an overtime push on the Flameburst. Easy Hunt pops the overclock, opens up the sightlines, being paid attention by a Blizzard and a Blade.
Trying to isolate Easy Han right here because it's Jinmu that has him in his sights, getting a little ahead of himself, but they trade that for Innovation, and Jinmu, Nisha gets taken down here too from the Hunters. The Valiants are so close right now here, Trid, and they just win another team fight. What a turnaround right now.
Leaf has to stay alive. They cannot drop another member. They cannot stagger. The benchmark is at the top of this ramp. They're going to have to sprint to contest it. No, it's not. It's even the bottom of this ramp. No. Nisha has to escort quickly. Jinmu going to have to dash through on the Tracer just to test and keep the contest alive. Chengdu Hunters need to frag out fast. They do not want to lose this map and go to a map number 5.
Oh, but they lose out on Nisha on the progress, and now you see the sound barrier from the Valiant.
Way.
What? The Valiant have managed to push the Hunters off. Look at these dash response between Jinmu on the Tracer, Gaga on the Doofus, but it's not going to be enough. The Rally only for Monk here to deal with it. But Gaga does find Molly right there, so the Valiant won't have the Rally. The Rally won't have the Rally here in the situation, but the Hunters are down 3. They are trickling down, and Dia finds 2, finds both of the support here, Trid, and the Valiants actually do it. The Valiants actually managed to take the push map, and we are going on to a map number 5.
I did not see that happening. I did not see them winning those consecutive fights and being able to push that beyond the point of that checkpoint effectively. Not much of a benchmark was set. Chengdu Hunters, they were playing very defensively, not too aggressively, a complaint that we had of this team earlier on in the series where they were being a little bit more reserved and it actually cost them there. If they could have been a little bit forward, they might have been able to group up and push their payload, their blockade a little bit further. Valiant might not have been able to match that when they turn it around. But substitution, don't know if the Mei was the impact play that they needed for the Valiant to actually win out there. I think more so, most of the moments of brilliance in that map came from Easyhan getting picks on the Sojo.
I'm still in disbelief to see what just happened right there from the Valiant. What a way to answer back. Currently, we got another map on our hands. We have a 5-map series here too between the Chengdu Hunters and the LA Valiant. Don't go anywhere because we got the last map here of the series underway soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the Chengdu Hunters versus the LA Valiant, and what a series it's been so far. We are now officially in Map 5 territory, and Trid, talk to us a little bit about what that means here for the Valiant.
Cursed country for the LA Valiant. Map 5s have not been there, but they were here quite a lot but they're always leaving 1-star Google reviews when they're leaving. They're not enjoying their time here. So, if we were to follow tradition, Chengdu Hunters, series win. 2 thumbs up for the Hunters fans. If Valiant can break their little map 5 curse, then Valiant fans are going to be rejoicing, going to be very happy, going to also create some glimmers of hope, I believe, for other teams down the line, because, like I said, the points are all over the place at the moment, Vicky, and this creates a lot of opportunity for teams to thrive at the expense of others' misery.
Oh man, Philly Fusion fans, I know you guys are looking at this series intently. I know that this last game could mean a lot.
No, they're not. They're not. They are contacting witches. They are contacting fortune tellers. They are finding rabbits to take their feet for luck. They know what they're up against next match. So I have a feeling they're more focused on making bargains with demonic creatures to somehow eke out a win for their team. Because tell you what, the Fusion fans, oh, they go through a lot of suffering. Let's just say that. But let's focus on the Valiant fans and the Hunters fans right now. Map number 5. No stranger to the Valiant, however, not always the most successful. Going over to Oasis for the tiebreaker, kicking things off on City Center.
5, 4,
Now we get to see what goes down here
1.
on Oasis. The Hunters now going to be able to actually even out the series here with the Valiant taking that last map already from the gates trade, trying to get up to the high ground. Jinmu has not been having the best success with these blades in this series so far. Has the opportunity to turn things around here as the Disruptor shot is going to be able to buy in some space.
Space given over. Hunters have control of the point for the time being. It's about to unlock. Will force Valiant to go into the fight. Leave low. Good aggressive dash coming in there from Jinmu, but both Leave and Dia are going to be able to take out Becky and Jinmu. No Genjis on the field for the time being. Keep things contested at 3 apiece. No one wants to give up that early charge. I think Hunters have quite a bit of an edge here at the moment. Can flip very quickly, especially when you see Gaga and Leave picking up the kills. Hunters pulling ahead, but EasyHan doing what EasyHan usually does and finding a return kill. Stems the flow, but I still think the outcome is going to be the same. I'm expecting Hunters to get this first catch.
Takes a least position right there too, because while Jinmu comes back in from the spawn doors, he finds a 3K real quick. Meanwhile, Becky finds himself right back into the spawn again. So the Valiants right now, a bit of a troublesome time on getting their initial footing onto this point here.
Now they'll go ahead on their counter-attack, get themselves set up outside the center. Looking at Jinmu right now, closest to a ultimate out of anyone on the field right now, apart from Monk. They're going to have a rally and a blade to use. Jinmu might want to use this one on tempo and shut down a push from Valiant, because I'm sure they know they're speeding ahead and there will be a support ultimate to answer them if they use it on cooldown. 3% remaining, already popped the rally. Becky's on the back foot. Blade comes out from Jinmu, presses Q, the second is available. EasyHan backs too far away. He knows Nisha can pick up the slack. Nice cleave there from Molly, dash through to find Becky. Turns attention over to Dia, and that's a 1 fight for the Hunters off the back of a tempo blade.
Oh, love it to see that from the Hunters. You know, those comms are going absolutely crazy right there with Jinmu prioritizing on the back line after making EasyHan fall down low with Nisha following up to get that pick. Now the Valiants, back to the drawing board here. They are going to have the sound barrier in this next fight as well as that rally. Also, Becky getting that first blade here. It won't be able to build into it anymore because Leave on the high ground is going to be able to claim his head.
What's the rush?
It's nice. It's a change of pace for Leave to be claiming these early fight headshots. 70% and climbing. It's a good position for Hunters to be in. Entering into that final fight territories, the first set of ultimates are starting to come online for the Valiant. EasyHan's headshot onto Nisha, gets them over the line and creates a 5v4. Valiant want to be taking this flip, but they've already lost too much map percentage. They are going to be in that final fight territory, even if they command the flip right now. They do not want to let this get to 99% though, because that is so dangerous for them.
Can't even claim it right now because Jinmu is still on the other side of the point right here, putting in a lot of pressure. EasyHan finally takes care of Jinmu. Is Nisha going to be next right now with the sound barrier? That would be huge. Valiant waiting out with their ultimates currently as the overtime time is clicking away. Gaga gets taken down. They're actually looking to conserve these ults. Super important here because now they finally get the points in their favor, and this is the first time they were able to do that.
So the setup for the ultimate stall is there. You've got 5 on the board. You need to just be conservative with them and cycle through them to get through the 99%. Chengdu Hunters have the luxury of time. If they can build their own ultimate up, take a few neutral fights, and then come out as strong, they can just get the one fight and claim it. They're at 99% already. Easy Hunt, using the overclock. Terrain, going to be the biggest enemy of this ultimate. And they're able to just slow down the tempo. That's one ult now. Keep the cycle going at this consistent pace.
Oh.
They can match it, and Jinmu's gone.
And Jinmu was so ready for Easyon too. That's why Jinmu's been able to isolate Easyon every single time the overclock is on board. Jinmu puts in that pressure with the deflect, but Easyon getting away from there, actually keeping the charge from that last shot on the overclock to actually contest Jinmu. Fantastic first pick there. Like you mentioned, take a look at the ultimates here and the way that Valiant are going to cycle through them, because it's going to be extremely important with the Hunters having the time bank advantage in their favor for the point.
This ends now.
Okay, the overclock. Becky comes in with the blade as well. That's going to be big space denier. Causes a full retreat. One ultimate for one so far. Conservative uses. Molly actually used the rally there as well. When Jinmu gets that blade, Lengza has to be on point with the beat, otherwise it could spell disaster. But once you do that, what do you do about Gaga's Rampage? This is the problem with the ultimate cycle. You've got it to a final point, but now you might lose it at the conclusion.
Saying now with Dia using the Rampage, you may see the enter back from Gaga. Here comes the sound barrier from Nisha. Here comes the Rampage hitting both the supports and the Valiants, but just in time for that sound barrier to help out the rest of the Valiant, and Jinmu is here. No support ults like you mentioned before. Yeah, Lengza had already used it, and now Dia's a sitting duck for that blade. Jinmu's going to be able to claim him. Now Becky's going to be next, falling down extremely low. Not going to be able to run away in time, and the rest of the Valiants are off the table now. 99% for the Hunters. They're looking to reclaim the point.
That's what we were worried about. You had the ultimate cycle, but right at the end there, not having the correct answer for everything that was going to be played out. You were running into a Jinmu blade with no ultimates. That changes how you think about things. Not only do you have to be worried about space, you know you're not getting any additional HP, additional resistances, additional support. Your health bar is what you have, and so you have to start thinking, oh crap, there is a Genji going to fly at me who could two-hit me in most cases. I'm going to play further back. I might be played more protective in these instances, otherwise I'm going to be removed. Chengdu Hunters, they had put themselves in a fantastic position by getting that 99% to 0. Great effort by the Valiant to tie it out, but ultimately you reached the apex of the ultimate cycle and you couldn't cross over that big tool heal at the end.
And that was nail in the coffin for them too. Even though they were able to match that in terms of percentage with that 99%, they had used up the support ults just in time for Jinmu to get that blade, to utilize that onto the Valiants. Now going into round number 2 here, the Hunters looking great, looking to find an opportunity as Easyon gets a nice off angle first. Dia taking a good bit of damage first. Here comes the shout, and Nisha's the first one to get taken down here. A bit of a change up as Hunters now are going to be able to actually back away, but without the Valiant going in first, leave Gaga get taken down next. And now we're seeing a complete reversal after what we had seen that first round. Now for the Valiant to take this second round dominantly in that first point.
Complete reversal of what we saw on round number 1. Valiant need to just hold on to this one though, get themselves to the 99%, and they can have themselves in a great position to go to round number 3 and try and win out the series. Hunters getting themselves set up on the entry point 2 there. They have managed to get themselves onto it now. Gaga very low, get some attention, some TLC from Monk and Nisha to the fight. Now you can see the rotations coming in with the speed boost.
Oh.
It's Nisha again. Nisha is a really interesting hitter. Just seems to be either going down first fights or just finding these early picks himself. Just able to blow out Becky. He's got a 5v4 in their favor, pushes them off the point, and gets themselves into a relatively strong position. So many low members of the Valiant, they are not going to be able to sustain or contest that flip, so it comes through for the Hunters.
And it's usually always Becky there too that Nisha has been able to pinpoint. If it's not Nisha, it's Jinmu who catches Becky. So Valiant exiting out of the point here, 37% in their favor, but the Hunters are going to be able to match that soon. The Valiant do have that rally ready, soon to be that sound barrier. Here you go with Molly though, utilizing the rally. The Valiant are looking to move forward here, trying to isolate Gaga over to the side, but Monk is right there to help them out. Monk with the rally, now the disengage from the Valiant as they're going to back away in time, but Jinmu's right there building up on that blade, and you can already see him falling a little low right now before restabilizing.
Gaga's in the same boat as well. a lot of attention. One armor pack, no HP. Gaga's gone down. This is the time to embark onto the point, Valiant. Got the man advantage, no tank, there's no shield now as well because you're taking out Monk. Get the flip here, claim it, start getting over the Hunters and build up some of these ults. Just try and do a more efficient cycle. We can't have you using a Blade and a Rally for nothing in return against the Trumdu Hunters again. If you do that, you may as well just give up the round. What I'm saying is, please don't choke.
Like we've seen before in the past here. EasyHound's about to get overclocked, but it's Becky with the Blade here first. Going to answer that with Jinmu, but the Sound Barrier helping out the Valiant. Jinmu actually able to play more passive because the Sound Barrier not helping him out here. So Nisha, Jinmu both using up those ultimates as the Valiant are still going to be able to take control over the point here. Big Rampage though finds onto 3, but Dia costs his life for it, but it was worth it with Jinmu falling down and Lee following afterwards. The rest of EasyHound and Becky are actually able to capitalize from the Valiant. You won't be able to get that health back. No way, no sir here, Gaga. And now the Hunters wasting more time from them after they get wiped out and nearing last fight territory for the Valiant.
I really don't want the Valiant to just win this round, just to still choke on round number 3. Like, Valiant, if you're gonna win this round, please. If you win this round, Valiant, please just go and win round 3 as well. Makes it difficult to do that when Gaga hits the 3-man Rampage. He can't go down with the star players for Valiant. Not looking good. Low backline right now. Dia and Lengso Molly need some support. Jinmu under fire, 10 HP, climbing to safety, can escape the shurikens as Becky cuts them down. Nisha now also low. The Valiant come clapping back. They're looking for the flip, even though they lost the point in that skirmish. Becky with the 3rd kill of the fight. Hunting for Nisha, who's going to be the stall tactic for the Hunters if they can get onto the point. Pulls out the Blade. 1 cleave, 2 to find Nisha. No one can touch. And the Valiant take us down to the wire.
Becky went crazy at the very end right there, picking up the little quick 4K with Nisha adding on to that collection here, but the Valiant take us to a round 3 trade, your all-time favorite. Now this is where it comes down to between these two teams. This is where it determines everything here for the Hunters as well.
Look, I just want them to win now. I just want the Valiant to just finish the map. Like, please, break your curse. I've been here too many times, Valiant, where you've not managed to actually get yourselves over the line. You can only watch someone trip over their shoelaces 10 meters away from the finish line of a marathon before it gets too painful to watch. You got the tools, you got the momentum. Take it to the Hunters, break the streak, and make Tay-Zonday happy. It's not too hard. Come on.
Yeah, everything here for them to work off of. Becky on the Echo, by the way, playing off the back line. Doesn't get much off of that focusing beam, though, with the Hunters disengaging over to the side. See EasyHound just trying to take the high ground position here, but Becky not overextending either, just trying to put in some of that extra poke pressure.
Good start for Valiant. Positional control, Gaga emerging to the point, focusing beam. We'll get the damage bonus, but still nice and healthy and get in the pocket for 2 supports. EasyHound lose their life. What should have been a first cap for the Valiant based off their positioning alone has slowly turned into a Hunter's first cap because of that pick on EasyHound. Now they're going to go off to Becky. They need to get out of here. They can't be given over any more ult charge in this one, but the stagger picks are too strong right now.
You see Valiant just backing off after losing out on Becky, so the Hunters are going to be able to take control of this point here first. Very similar to what we saw in that last round, though, before the Valiant were able to flip that. Now going to be able to see the Hunters, what they're going to do on this defense in terms of their positioning. Look at where Leave is positioned here, of course, looking for that opportunity. EasyHound now looking for the opportunity here, too. See that Jagged Blade coming in from Dia, always so consistent on getting in. Here comes a commanding shout to engage.
So Becky and Lengso immediately went on to leave while this fight is happening right at the back, and Monk's had to fall back. He's now not in the skirmish, helping Gaga, and so Becky's able to come through and just destroy them. Monk is pocketing Leave this entire time at the backside, and now EasyHound and Becky have gone for the 2v2. Make it a 2v2 as Dia is going onto the point as well to try and destroy them. Monk stuck with Lee throughout that fight there, kind of left Gaga out to dry on the front line at times. And I feel that's one of the reasons why Dia was able to overcome that front line and take down the opposite man.
With the Jagged Blade, you saw Dia pulled Gaga to him, and then Becky with the flank and the focusing beam to finish off Gaga was disgusting there. Didn't really give the opportunity for Gaga to even back off. The LA Valiant now looking to try to combat Jinmu and this Blade right now. The rally isn't going to help them out, though, as Molly gets taken down from it. Nice positioning here from Jinmu, trying to play off of the pillar. Doesn't get Becky, but diverts her attention right here over to the side onto Easy Han. Both members here from the Valiant get taken out, and Lexa falls incredibly low. Doesn't get to survive, and the point flips immediately right afterwards, quite literally ping-ponging off of both of these teams here, Trid.
Pretty healthy economy here. Molly using that rally in the last fight. Still leaves 4 open for the Valiant, and Chengdu Hunters are climbing up towards their own set of 4 ults. It's Jinmu missing out on the Blade. That's going to require some kind of response, I imagine Lexa, but they have the luxury of time which they could use to beat here in this fight if they've been on track correctly.
Oh, here comes Becky with another flank attempt here. The rally and the duplicate coming in from Becky, copying the Junker Queen. Dia has the rampage, but the carnage coming in huge here for Becky to get leave out from the field. Now Nisha goes down, Dia pops off, and the Valiants come on top of this team fight. The Hunters looking to have that opportunity to come right back in, but they could afford at least some extra time here because they got some of those ultimates here, Trid, and you see 86% in favor for the Hunters.
Great use of the Junker Queen airdrop there, using Becky's mobility on the Echo to bring the Junker Queen straight into the face of Leave. Makes it really hard to get anything done, close quarters, a couple of shots. You also hit him with the Carnage as well. Really easy cleanup potential and shuts down one of the key players of Hunters when it comes to damage distribution. Now they will go out for the re-event. Big Rampage finding 2 at the moment. There's a beat coming out from Lexa to answer. Nisha's going to answer it back as well. Ooh. Ultimates, very expensive for no one really died, but the counter Rampage coming in from Gardel was able to find 3, and I think that's going to be a difference maker. Jinmu doesn't survive, gets lasered out of the sky by Becky. Here's the flip coming in for the Hunters. They're going to have control, and they're probably going to be able to get to 99% if Valiants don't start getting kills. Start with a kill on Monk. Follow up with Gaga. Jumping over the top, and the Valiant are going to be able to clap this back, but they are going to get the retake at 99%. Vicky, this is going to come down to overtime again, and it's going to make it even sadder for whoever comes out with the loss.
Oh, literally down to the wire. This is insane right now. The Valiants are about to get another duplicate Trid, but I'm looking at Jinmu and that Blade that's about to come online. No support ults, minus Molly about to get that rally to help out the Valiant, and that may be the key here to deal with Jinmu. Now overtime is going to be contested currently right now. Hunters looking for the opportunity, but being stopped in that choke point. Overtime now ticking away in favor for the Valiant.
Easy Han needs that pulse bomb. There, you pick the Tracer to get back to the point. We need the pick potential. Leave under the cost. Will survive still when it's Monkey goes down. Becky with the same focusing beam finds 2. LA Valiant! They found the Horcrux, the totems, the Hex. They've cracked them all. They've burnt the Sage. They've cleansed the Oasis. And they will win the map 5 and take the series against the Chengdu Hunters.
They're alive! They win 1 Trid! They win, and they win such an important series against the Chengdu Hunters! All the way down to the wire, map 5, round 3, overtime on board for both sides. Insane series the Valiant had to showcase the very end. I mean, yes, they don't qualify for the Summer Showdown, but at the end of the day, it's about making sure you get enough of those points for the overall leaderboard, because you don't want to be sitting in last place where you currently are right now after the performance that the Charge had just yesterday.
LA Valiant coming out with the win. Wings out! Tazon Day is probably spamming in the chat right now. Maybe later on the Encore, this is the match that's going to be featured. Valiant fans. Valiant fans going to enjoy that one. Lexa, big smile on their face. But someone on the Valiant roster is going to have an even bigger smile when we tell you this news. He's already started to chuckle up a little bit. Easy Han is your player of the match. And I can already tell you why for this one, Vicky. Especially on maps like Colosseo. Easy Han was the spear of this team. Those headshots with the railgun always opening up. Nearly every fight that Valiant were able to convert to a successful win in some of these middle of the pack maps came from Easy Han landing cracked shots like that.
Easy Han also on Paradiso was really, really good. Was able to complement just in general the rest of the team very, very well, but also specifically Becky, with the way that Becky was making that flex choice to go between Genji and the Echo really being able to provide some of that extra motivation for Easy Han to pop off. But Easy Han was such a big problem that you saw countless times Jinmu not only respecting Easy Han in the middle of the Blade, reflecting Easy Han preemptively, but that does highlight that Easy Han was making a lot of these first picks right there. That was one of my favorite shots that Easy Han made after